Getting food. Hello, everyone.
So like, is that an old person's triplet?
This is John. This is our home. And hi, Bill. Right, we were waiting. I was waiting for you, Bill.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, this is where Natalie and I have lived for 20 years. Welcome to this event for Vote to Protect Salinas renters. And I am helping sponsor this with my nonprofit called Doctors for a Healthy Salinas. It's a nonprofit wing of my patient advocate practice. So yes, I've been working with Protect Salinas voters for some time, right? Meaning May, May of 2025. That's when it all started. We've come a long way. We have more yes.
Beautiful.
More good people.
Guest of honor.
All right. So just this campaign is we did so well with the first campaign. That is, we have these ordinances that protect tenants and keep rent stable since 2024 or 2025, the beginning of 2025. Okay. So Adriana C. y Saúl, aquí yo soy Dr. John Silva, aquí en mi casa. Yo y mi esposa vivimos aquí por 20 años y yo trabajaba con Vote to Protect Salinas Renters desde un año, casi un año, right? We're getting up to a year. Y el presupuesto, el purpose, how do you say purpose?
Propósito.
El propósito del evento es para recaudar fondos por nuestro programa, por el programa en adelante. Okay, esta noche. Y para aprender sobre la campaña. Okay, y encontrar gente de la misma campaña. So we've had rent control in California now since 2019. And we've had Salinas has its own rent control or rent stabilization ordinances since January of 2025. And the campaign is to try to keep those. ¿Sí? Con esta campaña tuvimos control, estabilización de la renta desde enero de 25 y luchemos en el año pasado para seguir hasta noviembre de este año y tenemos en adelante. Para tener en adelante vamos a necesitar votos. So to keep it going beyond November of this year, we're going to need the votes. So I'm going to get in trouble with words. Ballot initiative, ¿cómo se dice? Iniciativa.
Iniciativa de la boleta.
Iniciativa de la boleta in noviembre. Now, in Salinas, everybody knows we have even stricter rent control. And we need it here. We need it because of wages have always been lesser in coastal counties, in big cities and coastal counties. And the prices for houses are just the same. Who was I talking to? I was talking to Ellen earlier, telling us that the price of a rental here in Salinas is the same as it is in Monterey.
It's Monterey's even cheaper. Some cheaper.
Yeah, so es posible. Carrie dice que
One of my young employees is looking for a place and she's looking in Monterey because it's actually cheaper. Her friends are finding cheaper places in Monterey.
So por esas razones, la razón de los ingresos son menos aquí en Salinas y los rentos, las premios rentales son más adelante, más arriba. Carrie dice que más arriba que even Monterey. So increíble. Pero también en todos los condados a la costa. LA County, Ventura County, San Luis Obispo County, San Mateo, and most recently Santa Barbara County all have rent control or rent stabilization in some of their cities. So es una cosa que ya ha subiendo en importancia. La posibilidad de estabilización, la realidad de estabilización de las rentas y tenemos que seguir luchando por eso. Con mi programa se llama Doctors for a Healthy Salinas. Sabemos que individuos y familias y comunidades son más saludables cuando no hay pobreza. cuando no hay poverty. We know, we doctors know. Laura and I and any teachers here and any psychologists here, we know that the health of communities, individuals, and families is better when they're not in extreme poverty. And I think we can make a good argument that extreme poverty exists in Salinas. So, and that's what got me interested in the housing project here, is this kind of housing projects is what listening to my patients, para escuchar de mis pacientes, es la razón por que me interesó en trabajando por viviendas saludables, viviendas accesibles. Okay? Y mi amiga aquí, Carrie, me dice que también the homelessness, en español, ¿cómo se dice homelessness?
Sin hogar.
Sin hogar, that's one I should know. La población sin hogar está creciendo, pero también es diferente. Mi amiga me dijo que más individuos del señor en edad, ¿sí? De la tercera edad, y más familias y jóvenes. So, la cara de los sin hogar está cambiando. Muy triste. También notamos en la clínica. En la clínica, gente llegando, mujeres con sus hijos, llegando después de una noche viviendo en su carro. So, back in English. Yeah, so the demographics are changing for the homeless people, which is a side effect of the high rents. Carrie tells me that people are getting older, the homeless population, and Wes can, I'm sure, attest to this. The homeless population is getting older in age. We all know that the homeless population is including more women with children now. And I got an emergency call in November of 2024 from a friend of mine, Dr. Moreno. He's not here tonight. And he was asking me, John, I have this woman in the office who's been sleeping in her car for the last 3 nights with her 4 children. You must have something for me, John. You must be able to help me somehow. So those are the kind of things that maybe when you and I were practicing, Laura, maybe they weren't as prominent as it is now. These are in the office, these are every other day occurrences. Okay, so el problema con las leyes que tenemos es que no tienen dientes. There is no enforcement of these. One problem is there's no enforcement of these laws. And sin dientes, si las leyes, si no puede enforzar, good word, enforzar la ley, notamos abusos. ¿Sí? En este mes había al menos 2 abusos en la noticia. Uno fue al Garden Court, CCA, nuestros amigos en CCA, encuentro como 10 años de los dueños no poniendo atención a las viviendas, y había más que 50 detalles necesitando corrección. So when there is no enforcement of these rental, even the control laws, which doesn't happen or happens to a very little extent, then the landlords just get away with whatever they can. And there have been a couple of cases, pretty extreme cases in the news, from Garden Court Apartments in East Salinas, where CCA found 10 years worth of, including 53 situations where repairs weren't taken care of. And even in the home visits that I did toward the end of my career, I would go see patients for one thing, and they would say, oh, by the way, doctor, can you do something about my stove over at that place on John Street Apartments or Salinas Point? Dr. Silva, can you help me with my stove? It hasn't been working for 3 years. You know, this is the kind of thing that we doctors see, we teachers hear about. And so all of this motivates my desire and our desire to see any relief from the poverty. And it's more than poverty, isn't it? It's like indignity. That's not a word, is it? Is indignity a word?
It's a word.
Yeah, it's treating people like that happens. Es más que pobreza, que nuestra gente requiere, es como hay la indignidad que algunos de los dueños perpetúan. All right, so let's see. E, I'm going to stop talking for a minute, and maybe someone else can continue this story. Shago, can you tell us the story about, even though we have rent stabilization in Salinas, can you tell us that story that you heard and the reality about the woman who was due a refund that she knew about, not even the landlord?
This was one of our base members, one of our base leaders, and hopefully she'll join us. We're waiting on a few. We'll see who can join us tonight. Está hablando de la compañera, una de las compañeras de nuestro equipo, who was able to. She filed a petition. She filed her tenant petition, sent to the city, and the managers, landlords, they're not the landlords, but the
Property manager.
the property managers got in front of it, and were able to coordinate a meeting between her with them, and to identify exactly what was expected for her, what she filed for, and myself and Nidia were there in support to support her in that sit down. They presented back everything that she had asked for. Lo que pasó en esta junta fue que nos presentamos, ella se presentó, yo y la Nidia fuimos a apoyar a la compañera, y luego el señor presentó, bueno, lo que ella hizo fue que llenó su petición, y el manejador del propietario de la propiedad, ellos lo recibieron, y antes que lo procesaron en la ciudad, apuntó una junta con ella, y nosotros le apoyamos a ella, y luego él presentó todo lo que ella estaba pidiendo, y salió bien, todo salió bien, así. Había un acuerdo entre ellos, bajó el alquiler y le regresó lo que le debía, y fue más de $1,400. Y eso fue un resultado de las ordenanzas. Okay? Y eso es para ver que sí, vale la pena. Yeah.
Thank you, Shago. Sí, vale la pena. They really make a difference. And we know that they're making a difference. Of course, it's too early to see any big statistical or data difference, but we know they're making a difference because of stories like these. Stories like Shago told, and stories that we saw on KSBW about that apartment complex over on the east side, and stories like the one, well, I can't include the Soledad story. I won't go into what happened in Soledad because they're not covered by...
But also, the bad things they said would happen, the bad things they say would happen, like the market be flooded with sales and nobody would rent. All that's not true. None of that's happening. That's right.
So I'm going to wind up. So this campaign is about, we have to keep these protections, right? They really are helping people. They really are bringing dignity to people. They really are giving some relief from property. Las ordenanzas realmente están ayudando a la gente, están poniendo más fondos en su bolsillo, preveniendo la pobreza y restaurando la dignidad. Y eso que la gente necesita. La gente trabajando tan duro. By the way, these are very, very hardworking people. They're not like, what's her name? Amy Salmina said that they just want a handout. She said that, she was interviewed and said that. That's not what's going on here. Powerful forces are lining up against us. Fuerzas poderosas están ahorrando fondos para combatir nuestra campaña. We know that. before the end of December, the other side, I won't even name them, the other side had already donated almost $70,000 before the end of December. We expect that there will be funders from out of the area and out of the state. So, antes que al fin del año, el otro lado contra nosotros ya recibió casi $70,000 en contribuciones. Oh,
I wanted to say something.
yes, Bill.
Okay. I see more and more homeless people each and every day, and it's because of the rising cost of rent. And where I live, I pay $2,000 a month for rent. Where I used to live 6 years ago, I rented a room in a big house, nice neighborhood in North Salinas, but I had to move because I sold the house during the pandemic. And where I live behind Shore Gardens, they just allow people to trash everything, but you pay so much to live there. And then they closed the pool last August, and then they closed it last week when it was hotter than hell. But we're paying a lot of money for a luxury apartment. It's not luxury. It's they let people trash the place, and that's what's happening. I see more and more homeless people every day here in Salinas.
So, Bill está diciendo que él paga mucho para su apartamento, cada año va subiendo, y el cuidado de los apartamentos, como habló Chago, el cuidado, el care de los apartamentos está bajando, y está diciendo mi amigo Bill que últimamente el precio es bastante que tienen que salir del complejo y a veces no tienen otro lugar, son sin hogar. Gracias. Thanks, Bill, for that. So, again, big financial forces are accumulating against us, and we need to raise funds. There's no other way. We need volunteers for our program, but we also need to combat that to some degree. Now, our campaign isn't going to be able to spend $1 million like the other campaign will be. But there are things that we can do with the funds that we receive that will be very efficient. We envision a door-to-door, door-knocking campaign, ¿sí? No podemos competir con las millones de las compañías, pero somos comunidad. Somos vecino, is that how you say neighbor? Vecino con vecino. En esa manera, con eficiencia vamos a ganar. So, si tiene, hay varias maneras. There are many ways that you can donate to this cause. I will take cash or a check. We have a QR code. If you don't want to do it to me directly, all across the house today, hay QR codes, which will take you directly to our site. En efectivo siempre bien o cheque, pero también puede usar nuestro QR code. Hay como 4 en el apartamento. Wes tiene uno. Gracias, Wes. Y,
And the check's made out to protect Salinas.
thank you, Kathy. Yep, just right on time. You're my straight man. You're my Ed McMahon for Johnny Carson. The checks have to be written out. They have to say, vote to protect Salinas renters, 2026.
Okay, vote.
Yes, vote to protect Salinas renters, 2026. I've talked enough. Yeah, so we're going to do it. Vamos a ganar. Tengo confianza. Nuestro progreso es claro. We're going to do this. All right? Thank you for all your help. Thanks for coming tonight. Enjoy the wine. Now that I've spoken, I'm going to start enjoying the wine. And by the way, we have Glenn, who's going to help us with entertainment this evening. And you would take requests, right? All right. Okay, all right. Thanks for your attention, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. All right. All right. There it goes.